party.
Hey, Simon, we are back again. Yes, we are live finally. So let's introduce the show. Let's say hi to everyone that they are watching. So we can have a really special guest from Mexico City, Miguel Ontiveros. He's one of the main teachers in the Renzo Academy. So let's introduce the show in English and then I can do it in Spanish. So go ahead, Simon.
Hey, welcome back to Two Frontiers. We're your bilingual bridge connecting two cultures through the art of Jiu Jitsu. We're hitting you from, well, we're normally hitting you from Two Frontiers in New York, New Jersey, and Mexico, Yucatan, Merida, but not tonight because we don't have Professor Jorge Cabrera with us. So it's just me and Professor Melchor in New York. And we're introducing our special guest, Miguel Ontiveros, down in Mexico City. So,
Bienvenidos a su espacio Dos Fronteras. Les saludamos a todos aquellos que nos están viendo. Muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros. Tenemos un invitado especial, Miguel Ontiveros, el maestro de Jiu Jitsu de la Academia Renzo Gracie, esa academia que ya tiene una gran historia allá en el centro de la ciudad. Saludos a toda la gente de Centroamérica, Sudamérica, España y por supuesto a la gente aquí en Nueva York y en New Jersey, a todos aquellos que nos están sintonizando en estos momentos, pues les agradecemos su presencia. Así es que, Simon, we have this guy, this teacher, Miguel Ontiveros. You know, we get to know the whole history of the Mexican Jiu-Jitsu back with those guys, Rodrigo King, Rene Diosdado, Angel, and everyone else, that it was, you know, a very interesting story that not many people know about Mexican Jiu-Jitsu, I would guess. And now we can have this second generation with Miguel, who is one of the main teachers. He started training at the, 2006, become a teacher in 2012. So now he's second black belt under Mario Delgado. So fascinating, the whole story, you know, we see the growth of the sport in Mexico. It's great. It's something that,
you know, you guys have always had great raw material. I guess what a lot of people don't know is just how much the sport has grown. Just how much, you know, building on that Gracie legacy, and particularly with Delgado coming down from the Gracie Academy, starting his own gym. You know, it's a pretty amazing tradition and a pretty amazing legacy that was kind of going on at the same time, you know, even back before almost the first UFC, where people around the world interested in combat sports didn't know anything about Brazilian.
That's fascinating. And you know what? I want to invite everyone out there, like, you know, Central America, maybe Guatemala, Salvador, Peru, some other schools around there that they can tell us about how the Jiu-Jitsu began in their country, who brought the sport there. And, you know, they can tell us the story. I would like to do the same thing. It will be so interesting because, you know, we pretty much talking about parallel history in between the Gracies coming to the States, and then, you know, going all the way down to Mexico, and now, you know, it's one of the biggest sports in the city in Mexico. So fascinated.
Kind of using Mexico as that, you know, staging post for the growth of Jiu-Jitsu in the Caribbean. You know, we saw Javier Torres last week, who I think pretty sure won his fight on Sunday night in San Martin.
Yeah, actually won by
submission. You know, you've got this real diaspora of a bunch of people who were as raw material, were pretty amazing fighters in their own right to start with, right? And with
we have, for example, Rojo, Israeli Rojo Giron, who has like 20 fights. Is a huge number. Fascinated. I love the whole history. It's very interesting. And now with Miguel, we see the different idea of maybe, I would say, I don't know, we have to have Mario Delgado in the show and asking him about his dream. He was trying to build the line of his black belts, very successful ones. We talk about the Rojo Giron with 24 fights. We talk about the successful preparation for Rodrigo King, being one of the faces of the Mexican Jiu Jitsu. We have Rene Diosdado. Now we have Angel, and now we can see the second phase. With
I think the really exciting thing is all of the young fighters who are coming out of that tradition now. The 18, 19-year-old kids. We talked to Alex Alpero Ortiz a few weeks ago. You've got some real world-class fighters.
Actually, but and here is our special guest, my best friend Miguel Ontiveros, alias
Thank you.
El Manotas, like he wants me to call him.
El Manotas, big hands.
Big hands. So Simon, let's ask,
Mucho gusto, nice to meet you.
This nice
nice to meet you.
Muchísimas gracias, mi queridísimo Miguel, por estar con nosotros. Un placer tenerte aquí en tu programa, Dos Fronteras. Ojalá no lo pudiésemos llamar Dos Fronteras, sino una sola frontera, que no existan fronteras en ningún lado, pero pues un placer tenerte con nosotros. Ya hace algunos años estaba hablando de ti, del 2006, cuando iniciaste tus pininos ahí en la academia de Renzo Gracie en el centro, y ya para 2012 parece que pues ya formalmente te estableciste y empezaste a dar clases en la academia. Cuéntanos, so Simon, 2006, 2012, now let's ask him, how does it feel, to represent the school, to teach every day there. So go ahead and ask some questions in English. I know for a fact that, Miguel speaks really well English, so let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, good to meet you, Miguel. Welcome to Two Frontiers. We were just talking before the show about kind of the start of Mexican Jiu-Jitsu and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Mexico. How do you fit into that? Because you're kind of just after the first generation of black belts, is that right?
That's it. We started maybe the same time with Madureira, with Jorge. We started in 2006.
Yeah.
And we start training there. We are the first generation with Mario Delgado, that is our direct professor, below Renzo Gracie. So we are the second generation of Renzo Gracie direct. In 2006 we start.
And Miguel has a really special qualities in back in the day. I remember I was training with him, and he was coming as a white belt, and he was asking me, "Hey man, how do I pass the guard? How do I do this? Or tell me what I'm making wrong or anything." And I said, don't worry so much about what can you do good or everything. I think just you have a really good qualities, which is your elasticity that I remember. His elasticity was amazing, man. So we can ask questions about like how does that change from, I guess, when he was younger to now that he gets to be 52 now, man.
Yeah, 52. I started 2006. I was 35. I think 35. 35 years old, and I have a good elasticity because I trained in the high school, in the junior high school. I trained Kung Fu. The Kung Fu is a lot of elasticity and plasticity, and a lot of this kind of positions. Really, sometimes it's difficult, but give you a lot of flexibility in your body.
Sure.
And I think in my 52 years right now, I feel almost the same, like 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. So I love the Jiu-Jitsu because the Jiu-Jitsu adapts you to your body. And even I getting older later, I'm going to be adapting my Jiu-Jitsu in the future. That's a good thing.
Sure.
For everybody.
Did some of your style as a practitioner, as a jiu-jitsu fighter, come from that, from your flexibility? I mean, would your guard positions, the kind of positions you like to play on the floor, was flexibility a big part of that for you?
Yeah, I think it's,
tu flexibilidad, ¿cómo era, mi estimado Miguelón? ¿Era parte de tu juego? ¿Tu flexibilidad,
yes,
cómo era?
Yes, I think my style, it was maybe old school, because we started with the old school techniques. Mm-hmm. And I think my flexibility was one of my good weapons, and to have good rolls with the band. I can receive some positions, some nasty, and somebody with really big guy try to trap me, and I can stay there and breathe, and I don't get anxious. I really have a really I can say I feel comfortable in general with my flexibility, with somebody on top of me, and of course then I have the chance to make the reverse. And when I advance in the belts, I start to go over my opponents and try to control them, but I still use my flexibility.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we've spoken to a load of guys like Rene Diosdado, from your generation, of that first generation of Mexican practitioners from the Gracie Academy. How important was that tradition, that line? Because, you know, all of these guys have spoken about always fundamental positions, simple, fundamental, basic jiu-jitsu, you know, not perhaps looking at the modern techniques as the foundation, but always going back to that original Gracie jiu-jitsu. Was that a big part of your teaching method, your learning method?
Yeah, yes, that I think is, for example, I follow a lot Roger Gracie. One of the best, is the GOAT in the gi. Like right now, Gordon Ryan is the GOAT in no gi. Roger Gracie, what we call in Mexico, Rogelio Gracie, Roger Rogelio, makes his Spanish name. Yes, I think he's one of the best guys, the GOAT, to use basic techniques and do it in the way that advance cannot control him or stay in comfort with him. So it's really, really nice. I think, of course, I use a lot of the Rory Gracie style because of my body, and because it's some basic things that if you do it with some details, you can do some nasty things with the jiu-jitsu to control and submit your opponents or your teammates.
And does that mean, like, I mean, you look at Roger Gracie's techniques, you know, so many of his fights were won with the same techniques. They were won with, you know, the cross collar choke from mount, the Jujigatame, the simple straight arm lock. You know, are those things that you try and get your students? Does that mean that you get your students to aim to do perfect techniques but less of them?
Yes, I think my students have the same, some because of you train or you have the style of your professor. When I start here, I have the little bit start of Mario Delgado and Luis Fonseca, another guy that were teaching us. And then I try to go with my style, and I'm looking for one style that is adapt to me, to my body.
We're losing you a little on the audio there, Miguel.
Yeah, Miguel, your audio is getting something happened there. But anyway, it's fascinating, right? Roger Gracie is still the pillar of the jiu-jitsu, and I think it's you and I we always check those techniques. You know, Roger Gracie is fascinating. It's just the basic stuff that he does most of the time, nothing fancy. You know, and it works all the time. I guess everyone else probably follow the same methods, the same basics, and I think Miguel is no an exception, I guess, but it's very cool. So let's see what happens.
Might want to restart your feed there, Miguel. We can't hear you at the moment, I don't think.
Yeah, something happened there. Let me send him a message to the system. Can we hear Miguel on? Let me see. But it's I love the whole idea, but let's give it off let's explain a little bit. Mario was focusing, and I think Mario always worked really hard in the sense of bringing people to the mats, and so we can train with, we were training with Kenny Florian back in the day, one of the best fighters there in the UFC. Rico Rodriguez, came to Mexico City, Marcelo Garcia. Wow. And then this generation with Miguel, you can see Puchecha coming to the maps, and you get to learn from those guys, and people get excited, and you can get to see, at least you get to ask the guy, hey, how do you defeat someone bigger or better than me?
Well, you can't ask someone better than Puchecha for that, because I don't think anyone else in the gi beat Roger Gracie today.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it's fascinating. Let me check. I don't know what happened with Miguel. We lost him temporarily.
I can still see him on my feed. I
can see him in my feed here, but I can barely hear it. Let me see. Audio is not working.
I think it's
there you go. So, problemas técnicos de la Ciudad de México allá, difícil. Pero bueno, fascinante para todos aquellos que nos están escuchando. La plática del profesor Miguel nos explica que, admira muchísimo y sigue los principios básicos de Roger Gracie, de la familia Gracie, obviamente Renzo Gracie, que está allá en la ciudad, en la escuela, y siguen con este tipo de principios básicos que utilizan las técnicas para cualquier parte básica, ¿no? Vamos a ver si Miguel puede volverse a conectar. Tenemos ahí problemas, seguimos teniendo problemas con el audio. Lamentablemente, pues esto pasa por la cuestión de la tecnología. Ya te estamos escuchando un poco, Miguel. ¿Nos escuchas?
Te escucho. Yo te escucho, yo escucho al 80% porque se corta para que se escucha cortada.
Tal vez
no se agarra bien mi señal.
Sí, exactamente. Pues ni modo, tenemos un problemita. Puedes volver a salir del sistema y volver a entrar, Miguel, a ver si se hace si se reconfigura. Okay. Sí, perfecto, esperamos. Sal del sistema y vuelve a entrar a ver si se vuelve a reconfigurar. Simon, we have problems like that. Last week with Javier, we lost him. He couldn't hear. You have to do the whole show. But let's go back. I was saying Mario was doing a really good job by having first his goal was to have the black belts. Then graduate them, and then have the other students follow a special program, and we see the results. It's a really good level. So anywhere you go now, you are training in Mexico City. The level is almost the same as anywhere, and also it has to be a little bit like how much do you train, But rather than that, you go anywhere. You had a good credentials, Renzo's, Gracie's academic, the people there are really good.
Yeah.
As you can see, we have the chance also to have that academy in New York, and train. It's so much fun,
for anyone who's never been, it's an amazing atmosphere. Those guys are incredibly welcoming, incredibly helpful. You couldn't roll with a more, there's no ego there at all. I know people talk about Renzo in the past, who was, one of the most amazing practitioners of all time. But it's to anyone coming to Manhattan who knows anything about jiu-jitsu or wants to get into jiu-jitsu, you could not do better than go to that gym on 31st Street and train, because they are fantastic people.
Yeah, and Renzo is an amazing person, teacher, fighter. I don't know. I can say, I don't know what I can say to describe this guy, but he's and spreading this seed to Mexico City. You can see these guys too. No? Hopefully, as I say, I want to make it public the invite to my teacher Mario Delgado. Hopefully, we can have it here next week or some other time.
I think we got back here.
Yeah, can you hear us now? ¿Me puedes escuchar? ¿Nos escuchas?
Se escucha mejor ya. Se escucha mejor.
Perfecto.
Esperemos que no se vuelva a echar a perder, porque si no escuchaba nada y trataba de adivinar qué estaban diciendo, pues no entendía el 90% se escuchaba mal. Ahora se escucha el 99% bien.
So let's go back here, Simon. So tell us a little bit about the work that you guys are doing in Mexico City. What is the steps? I know Mario has a really very established process to teach you, and then have like a line for you guys to teach, and then you have to follow that line. But tell us what are the new techniques? I know you've been training, for example, with Puchecha, with Craig Jones, that just recently was down there. You guys have the opportunity to level up your techniques, and it's something that not many people has, but you guys have that. So tell me a little bit, Mike, how is the techniques that you guys develop, or what you teach in the classes there? Go ahead. Can you hear me?
In the class we use, for example, we separate the basic guys, the white belts, with another professor, and then I teach from blue belts to upper belts, not to until black belts, for example. So in the main class, the professor that teaches that class uses the techniques like racing combatives, I think it's 36 techniques basics, racing combatives. And then my class, I use a lot of the specific training. I think specific training is really, really important to develop some situations and to improve your jiu-jitsu in some situations that you, for example, I have a black belt now that attacks every moment, every second he only attacks. Nobody can take his back. Nobody can take his put him in the triangle. So when we do the specific training, and he start with some guy on his back, the guy submit him, for example. So I see that, and I need to do some more specifics to everybody to improve his game in every single position. Because, for example, I love to pass the guard. Stack passes all my weight on the guy. But I need to practice more my guard. I think I have good guard, but I need to improve my guard, for example. If I'm the professor, but I need to improve every day, because Jiu-Jitsu is an update art that every day moves, and every day we have something new in the internet and YouTube and in the BN fanatic pages. So it's really dynamic. And some guys, for example, I have some white belts that are really autodidactic, and if you have like professor updating every day, I don't mean they're gonna teach you the technique, but they do something that you maybe don't know in that detail, for example, and we need to improve every day. That's it.
Yeah. So what do you think, Simon?
That's amazing. I mean, that's what I wanted to ask is, you're kind of personalizing the program to the style of your students then. So you're looking at their individual weaknesses and developing drills for that. That's kind of what I wanted to ask you next was, do you like to drill and go through those basic positions time after time after time? Or is it more open? And because, in New Jersey at the moment, there's a bunch of gyms around here where they're kind of not training positions at all. They're just doing what they call situational jiu-jitsu and then teaching them the technique after the fact. So someone will start in side control, will start in mount, and they'll have 5 minutes to get out of it, and that's it. But, I mean, are you more of the drilling, practicing those movements over and over again?
Yeah, I use a mix of everything, but to balance the class, because I just teach to do a submission, to go to the submission, and do the last part of the technique, and not just do the Americana, for example, the triangle. And I don't teach the beginning or the passing the guard, or the complex situation that is maybe control the guard or pass your guard. It's not really nice or really a good way to teach, because you only learn how to do Americana, for example, in basic in Jiu-Jitsu. So when I remember when I started Jiu-Jitsu 15 years ago, in YouTube there were only maybe 10 videos of Jiu-Jitsu that were the same, and we see the same, and we will teach with Mario and other professors. They teach us, of course, that they already know, but they teach with not a really good system, for example, with sequence. I don't mean that we were a bad class. Of course, it's not we're a bad class. But we learn a lot of jiu-jitsu. But the jiu-jitsu, when you arrive to blue belt, was really in disorder. You have the sequence completely in your mind, and you need to do something. And you lost the position, and you go start again, for example, no. So in this case, right now we have a lot of didactic style, a lot of situations that we can practice. For example, the specifics. For example, some drills. For example, we start from standing up. We start, if I teach maybe close guard, we start the rolling in close guard, for example, and we adapt the class in the style every student, because of course some students want to be a world champions, and some other wants just to fat burn. No, that's the key.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the dynamism of it and the fact that, back in the day, 2006, you had maybe 10 or 15 people making YouTube videos. You log on to social media these days, you'll have 200 different new techniques and new side control escapes, goth locks, Mia locks, 25 different types of ankle locks. Does that change the way you guys teach? Does it mean your students come having learned those techniques on YouTube and trying them out?
How does it?
Sorry, the last part, I didn't hear the last part.
Basically, if the techniques that you teach are different from, a lot of guys are exposed now, like to learn jiu-jitsu from YouTube and from videos. Like we receive this message every single day from, you can go to Facebook and see like training, videos every single minute. And of course, the guys can go there and try it. How do you pretty much like say, like teach your system and then avoid them to come in and do crazy things? Basically, that's what he's asking. And if you don't understand, I can go in Spanish too.
No, it's okay. I understand you, but it's a little bit cloudy signal. That's it, but it's okay. Well, I know that the thing with the internet is that you can, like a teammate or like student, you can go and see some Instagram techniques that are amazing, no? But in real life, it doesn't work like we just saw the video. So in this case, of course, we are free to see every day techniques that we want to practice. But I think we have to, even if my teammate asks me about that technique, maybe I know how to do it, and maybe I don't know how to do it, but I try to maintain the line. Of course, if he wants to practice the technique after the class, of course he can do it. And we stay with the same principle, no? With passing the guard retention, some controls.
No, what happened?
Warming up the techniques that we use. Maybe you see me?
Yeah, fading out again, Miguel.
El audio se fue otra vez. Escuchamos
I have good sign, eh? I got good signal in this place, eh? I don't know what's going on because I have 100% the lines in my signal.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Es difícil ver a estos estudiantes, ¿no? Venir siempre, porque hay muchísimas técnicas en el Instagram, mi querido Miguel, y muchos de ellos vienen y te preguntan, ¿sabes qué? ¿Cómo se hace la técnica? O simplemente la aplican. ¿Qué haces al respecto? ¿Cómo es que puedes decir, ¿sabes qué? Pues déjame explicarle, pero después de la clase o antes de la clase, ¿cómo puedes controlar esa ansiedad que los estudiantes tienen cuando directamente ves los videos y quieren aplicar las técnicas, no se apegan al proyecto que tienes tú como maestro? ¿Me escuchaste?
Pues yo les comento, mientras estemos haciendo, I understand. When we start doing the class, we will do the same line with everybody, and then when we start rolling, you can use the magic thing you already saw in this room. That's it. I don't think it's. Of course, it's not forbidden, but it's a good way to practice in real rolling. No? But during technique, we just do the technique that I teach in that moment. No? And then when we roll, we can do every other thing that we want to do in Instagram and the style that you want to develop, of course. No? Because sometimes I teach some techniques that from somebody it doesn't work a lot because of his body, his anatomy, his flexibility. And for the other guys, it's okay. So the jiu-jitsu, the beautiful thing that you can adapt, like we already said, we can adapt your style, and you can adapt your style, your kind of body, type of body, sorry. No, so in this case, I don't prohibit, of course, they can do it, but doing the rolling if they want. Of course, carefully, because if maybe a heel hook, a nasty heel hook, of course, they need to do with careful, with protecting or take care of
their partner,
his teammate,
Yeah,
to avoid injury.
Back in the day, we used to train. We doing a lot of leg locks, Simon, down there in Mexico City most of the time, and it was hard. But now they are forbidden to use it in some classes, I guess. But let's ask the question about he's 52. How did he train now that he's older? What difference was when he was a young guy and now that he's 52? Let's ask you, man. How do you train now at the age of 52? What changed? What do you I don't know, Simon. You want to explain it better? So because
I mean, a lot of us, we're all about the same age. We're probably not as fast or as flexible as we used to be. Are there things you can do as an older athlete, as a less dynamic athlete, to make up for those things that slow down as you get older?
So how do you deal with that, Miguelito? ¿Escuchaste?
Well, I used to, but see, it's okay. I understand everything. So I think I prefer to go and in my case, when I have with a role with an athletic guy, with an athletic teammate or partner, I don't go in the same pace, because if I go in the same pace, maybe I'm going to gas out and they're going to pass my guard. I just try to do a jiu-jitsu counter jiu-jitsu, waiting like waiting the prey to follow my spider web, for example. It's a illustration, So I need to wait until I can grab here maybe a half guard or half grab his arm or something like that, and try to slow down the situation.
Yeah.
So I need this, when you have experience in jiu-jitsu, you have a lot of, we say in Mexico, colmillo, a lot of experience, and you have colmillo, like this, like you know how to do in some situations, to avoid gas out.
Very sneaky.
Yeah, that's it. I use that kind of technique. And of course, if somebody pass my guard and comes from me, I stay relaxed and try to escape and try to look in for space, and that's the everyday jiu-jitsu. Even if I'm off top, I need to control. I try to submit the teammate, the partner. Of course, it's not going to be easy, because my teammate is going to roll hard to avoid that. The situation, of course. That's the chess match of the jiu-jitsu every day, the ajedrez,
Yep.
The human chess in this case.
That's pretty cool, man. So fantastic. I guess it's just what we just talk. Every single old man who is in our age, we have to slow down the young youngsters. I guess it's the only key, to really.
So I'm a few years younger than you, and I still can't get past your guard. So.
Yeah. Well, you will see when we go to Renzo, we roll with young guys. The key to slow them down and wait for them to make a mistake.
Yeah.
That's how it is for us. I mean, it's difficult. So, Miguel, we want to ask you, so how's life in Mexico City? How you still very passionate at 52, training all the young generations, and how do you see the jiu-jitsu, the future? How is your projection for the next couple 10 years? ¿Cómo es el futuro del Jiu-Jitsu en los próximos 10 años? ¿Cómo lo estás viendo ya que estás ahí en la academia? ¿Cuál será el futuro de aquí a 10 años? Pues danos tu opinión en eso. Tú estás a diario con los estudiantes, los ves, ves el progreso? ¿Cuál es el futuro que se ve, el futuro del Jiu-Jitsu en 10 años, según tu opinión?
I think
en español puedes contar en español.
We have good.
Échale en español si quieres.
Okay. No, lo que pasa es que te entendí, pero no escuchaba bien. Bueno, yo creo que el mexicano, de Messi, somos buenos guerreros, good warriors. We have warrior blood, you know.
Yes.
Contact sports like boxing, for example. You already know a lot of good guy, really good talent in boxing, Mexican guys. So in Jiu-Jitsu, it's pretty the same. We have a good warrior, good athletic guys, and of course, right now, because of the techniques of the sequence that the guys teaching, the professor teaching right now, I think the guys are more technique. For example, when I was a blue belt, for example, I think have a good technique, but right now a blue belt of nowadays are really more technician. He has a lot of good shortcuts that he already know, or she already knows. For example, a girl that he can put us in a bad situation, a upper belt as a blue belt. In 10 years ago, maybe I was a blue belt and I fought with Mario Delgado, and Mario Delgado crushed me every moment and submit me every second, no? Because there's a lot of distance between belts. I think right now the belts are really tight, really close in the technique. So I think the Jiu-Jitsu in Mexico is going to be more. Well, we're going to have a lot of good guys that will have a chance to compete maybe in the worlds in the future, and we have more competitors in the opens in the world, no, in USA Opens and in the Europeans, in Brazilian Open, the Brazilian Out, for example. So right now we don't have a lot of Mexican guys that compete in that tournaments. So I think it's going to be maybe in 10 years ahead, we're going to see a lot of guys and girls that compete at a good level, no, because of the training.
Yeah, and I think this is a question, I ask you this because basically you have a son, the Manotas Junior, right? So is your boy, how old is he? And I think do you think he's going to be the future of the face of the Jiu-Jitsu in those 10 years from now on? I guess, right?
Yeah, I think he is right now, he's 23 years old. He turned 24 in this December, and almost black belt. He already competed in the last Pan American or Pan Am Pans in New York. It was in October this year. He has a good experience. He won the first fight, and then lose the second one. But of course, his experience, because the level in the opens, the tournaments are really high. We know that. So Manotas Junior is going to stay training with, in this case, as brown belt, to improve his jiu-jitsu and to train and to compete more in the opens in the next year. So it's he has good level course. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Miguelon, how long has he been training, and at what age did he begin training jiu-jitsu? And do you think it makes a little difference from when you started?
Yeah, he started training at 16 years old. He's right now 23. 7 years ago, he started training.
There you go. That's a good timing.
It's a training, so bro, the kid. Yes, a good time. But in his case, he trains only, for example, at the beginning, from white belt to blue belt, he trains only he trains only during the weekends, because he hasn't trained yet with me in the academy. So we train in our house with my firehouse in the garage with the tatami. We train one Sunday. We train, the other Sunday we off, and one-on-one. So 2 times per year or per month, pardon. And then until he enters the academy, he earns his blue belt and start training a little more in not daily basis, but maybe 2-3 times a week. That's the key.
Yeah.
So maybe if he trains instead of 7, he has been training for 5 years in a row, for example.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And Miguel, I wanted to ask you, from your current stable of athletes who you're training, your current students, is there anyone we should be looking out for you think will be in competition in the next few years?
Repeat again. I can hear a lot of your question. Maybe I hear the half of the question.
Repeat it
again in English. It's okay.
He's cutting off. You wanna repeat the question?
Sorry. I was just saying, are there any of your current students who we should be looking out for as fighters?
Okay. You mean that some students who want to fight, for example, MMA?
Yeah. Sí.
Okay. Well, in my class right now I have a blue belt, almost recent blue belt, Andre. I call him Andre. His last name is Andre Pereira, and I call him Andre Arlovsky because he's a small guy, but he's like a pit bull. He's really strong, really fast, and has good technique. Of course, he's right now 18 years old, maybe, I think. And he wants to train. Of course, he wants to be in the UFC in the future. Of course, is his goal. For example, to Andre. So I have not too much students, but I have some. And right now I have a girl. His novio, his boyfriend is Nadia Vera and Golden Bull Emiliano Linares from Ecuador. That they already train in MMA and they're professional fighters right now. And they go to my class to train Jiu Jitsu separate, because if you train MMA, you need to train separate Jiu Jitsu, boxing, wrestling, judo, for example, Muay Thai, and then you use all together. We would train MMA, for example, in a class of MMA in a fight. So in this case, they go to my class, Nadia and Emiliano, and train with me Jiu Jitsu, just Jiu Jitsu.
Wow.
And they improve, of course, a lot.
And what about the junior? Do you think? Let me ask you this, Simon. I think you're gonna love this question. Or maybe, who wins, the junior or you? When you roll with your boy, the junior or you? Who beats who? Who beats who? The junior or you still choking out? When you roll with your boy, who wins?
Is Junior choke me out? Still choke me out or what?
No, cuando rolas con tu hijo, ¿quién gana? ¿Quién choquea a quién? El Junior te aplica.
Well, of course, yeah. Of course, right.
Tú le ganas al Junior.
Right now, of course, but the Junior right now has to. Right now, I think I make some survival methods to survive a little bit, but I think it's gonna beat me because he's really technique and really strong. He has good leg locks. He has a lot of good takedowns, good counters to escape some submission. He can escape from numbers. He can escape sometimes from triangles. No, but of course I admit the thing here is that in the light the pupilo, your student, so advanced over you. This I don't think what to say in English. El alumno supera al maestro.
Yeah, he's already passing.
And right now
he's getting better.
Over me. He's really good technique.
Yeah. So
right now it's in this moment. Of course, he's gonna don't say that, but
yeah. So do you think you can see him winning the Panams or the wars in the next couple of years, or what is the goal for the junior?
Yeah, of course. Of course, he wants to compete the next year. The next year, in all the opens he can go, in the Pans, for example, and the Worlds. Of course, he wants to prove his jiu-jitsu with the best of the world. So to prove his jiu-jitsu and to have more experience, of course. And then I know in the black belt level it's gonna be more difficult, but it's gonna be a good situation for him. He loves to compete and he loves to be in bad situations and to improve and getting better every day.
Well, let us know if he comes to New York. You can help him with the staying here. A couple of days here and there. He can come stay with us, and helping out with the.
Yeah.
He can stay with us and then go compete. We can go check it out. Sort of like we will be sponsoring him to be in our house. Only if he wins, right, Simon?
No.
No. Yes, only he wins. So you got it. Mi estimado Miguel. he lost. Then he pays hotel. He paid all the expenses. We charge him double if he lost.
You charge me later in my credit card. All the expenses. Of course, I'm going to visit New York the next year in October. It's the pants.
Oh, ok, perfecto. Pues podemos, mi estimado,
where's your partner? He's gone.
Simon. I don't know. Where is Simon? Mi
Simon,
estimado, es un placer tenerte aquí en el programa nuevamente. Pues gracias por la experiencia. Esperemos que el Junior pueda llegar a pelear ahí en los Panamericanos, ganar en el Worlds. Es algo que, bueno, te haría muy feliz. Y ya sabes, si
por supuesto, y él también.
Alguna ayuda acá en Nueva York, en caso que quiera venir a competir acá en Nueva York, acá le podemos apoyar. Pues te decía que o solamente si gana, ¿no? Y si no, y si pierde, paga doble.
Exacto. Tú sí, lo que te sí, no importa, me cobras el doble. Quizás Simon, welcome, my friend.
Simon, what happened?
I don't know. I'm having to talk myself here, I think. So sorry about that.
Anyway, Simon,
in London? You're Simon in London?
Sorry?
You're in London, no, Simon?
No, you're in New York. Not just down the road from New York.
We're in New York, yeah.
Well, your accent sounds like a British accent.
Yeah, I'm Welsh, British.
Yeah,
I've been here a few years though now, so.
Yeah. Anyway, Simon, I think it's time to go. The time is up. It was nice talking to El Manotas, you know, the big hands from the teacher from Mexico City. We really appreciate the time that he's putting us. We had some difficulties with the audio and the and the connection, but it was a pleasure to have him in the show. It's fascinating the good things that are coming out of Mexico. And anyone who wants to go train there in the Renzo Gracie and Mario's academy there, I think they are more than welcome. Of course, they have Miguel there as a teacher, and he's receiving international people over there already. But
I think we'd like a trip down to Mexico City at some point. So
we are planning to go down there. Yeah, we're gonna roll with Miguel, choking off again. And,
you're welcome.
We can
Son bienvenidos los dos.
We're gonna do a national tournament. Manotas, you and I, we can just train there. The two old men getting a fight there.
And you can bring Megaton Diaz.
Oh yeah. No, he's too old, man. He's not gonna come. But yeah, one day we will choke him up too. Hopefully he can come up. Anyway, muchísimas gracias. Gracias
a todos, Professor, for your time. Big thanks to our guest, Miguel Ontiveros, and we'll see you guys soon. We're here to share.
Muchas gracias a ti,
George, Simon. Supporters. Until next time, keep pushing your frontiers. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias a todos por sintonizarnos. Estar con el famoso Miguelón y alias el Manotas. Muchísimos saludos a toda la gente que nos está sintonizando, a aquellos que mandaron mensajes. Un saludo a Centroamérica, nuevamente España. Un saludo a Alejandro, a Rodolfo y a alguna otra gente que nos está escribiendo. Y saludos a todos aquellos aquí en New Jersey que nos están escuchando. Bueno, es tiempo de irnos. Pues hasta luego, muchísimas gracias, mi querido Miguelón, alias el Manotas. Saludamos allá a todos en la Ciudad de México. Fue un placer estar con ustedes. Muchísimas gracias.